That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Thin Man, the W.S. Van Dyke film from 1934, which Warner Brothers Archives just put out on Blu-ray last month. A little behind. But yes, I've seen this film before, which of course was a surprise hit for MGM and spawned 6 sequels. Made icons out of William Powell and Myrna, who played Nick and Nora Charles, a pair of, I guess, for detectives, based on a very famous novel by Dashiell Hammett. This is Joseph's first time seeing it. It wasn't a very pleasant viewing experience.
I did not like it. But let's describe the story.
Sure.
So an inventor,
Wynant,
turns up missing.
Who is the eponymous Thin Man.
Yeah, so the Thin Man refers to this inventor who goes missing. A woman who he was affiliated with turns up murdered.
His secretary.
Mm-hmm. And so the movie is...
Okay,
I don't know.
We meet the inventor, his daughter, Dorothy, played by Maureen O'Sullivan, who's the mother of Mia Farrow, makes him promise he'll be back by New Year's when they're going to get married. He says he'll be back by Christmas. He's going off to do something with his latest invention. Doesn't show up. She happens to run into Nick Charles, who she knew as a child at a party, who used to be a detective. And then it becomes kind of more of a bit of an absurdist slapstick comedy routine. And Nick and his newish wife, Nora, whose father died and left them a ton of money, which is why he retired, take the case. Or rather, don't take the case, but solve it anyway.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah, what more do you want to add?
I mean,
the plot is, so Dashiell Hammett also wrote The Maltese Falcon, and The Maltese Falcon was, which you have seen, with Humphrey Bogart.
Okay,
which
I
is
don't
actually
remember.
the third version of that movie. In The Maltese Falcon is famously a MacGuffin, and this film also feels kind of like that. It's really not a efficient narrative. It's a lot of, although I think the film was gutted to make room for this kind of comedy routine, it's a lot of, as you called it, messy.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's not thrilling.
Well,
we don't care about any of the characters. None of them are likable. All of them are annoying to me. The reveal is like, the end. It takes like an hour, 15 minutes of this 90-minute movie to kind of come together with a dinner scene. There's so many things I didn't like. Like, this detective gets involved and the police treat him like he's actual law enforcement. They somehow are convinced to like bring the people who he thinks are suspects to his home for dinner, which is so absurd. And then, like, if the police came and grabbed me and said they want to question me about something and took me to someone's house for dinner, but whatever. The point is, this film culminates with this dinner scene where he, the private investigator, who's played by
William Powell,
like, questions everyone. I feel like
in a very, like, what would become like a Murder, She Wrote kind of move.
Whoever wrote this, I think, thought they were witty.
I don't think it's not a witty film. In fact, I think it feels very dated. It feels of the period of 1930s. Very heavily weighted down by the censorship. This is considered a daring film.
But I don't mind that. I understand all that. So that's not an issue for me. The innuendo and that's not the problem. The problem is, like, it's just not funny. It's not suspenseful. The two main characters, the husband and wife,
Nick and Nora. No, that's what I was saying.
They're so obnoxious.
I think that they are doing overtime because the screenplay isn't really that witty. I think their energy, especially William Powell, who's nominated for Best Actor.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Sure. But I can't believe this was nominated for Best Film at the Academy Awards, Best Actor.
Best Actor.
It's just all over the place.
Revived his career.
The editing is like just jump.
Well, it was shot in 2 weeks.
It looks like it. Well, actually, no. So it looks, for the time it was made, and
it was a B picture. This is a surprise hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's not my problem with it either. Like, it doesn't look like cheap, or I just think the story, like the writing's bad. The actual story, it's not thrilling at all.
Well, told in this fashion.
Yeah. It just makes it. I don't know. I'm just thinking there, and I can't think of any, but there are so many examples of like murder mysteries that have a comedic element to them that are leaps and bounds better.
Yeah,
I know I've seen them, but I just can't.
Well, I was thinking because Myrna Loy and William Powell were in one movie before this, and then it was a hit, and there were all these sequels. But they also did a lot of other films. And I happened to catch Love Crazy, this 41 movie they did. That was at TCM Film Festival, and I saw that in the past 2 years, and that I thought was a lot better than this, for lack of a word. But it also is very 1930s in rehashing lots of popular tropes, like craziness running in the family is kind of this concern that the Maureen O'Sullivan character has, that her fiance is. And which is very much like a bill of divorcement with Katharine Hepburn, where she's, insanity runs in the family. Okay. And also Dinner at 8, another Cooker film, which is supposed to be a slapstick comedy that I don't really find that funny. And the finale of this film reminded me of that as well. What else notable? Cesar Romero, who would end up playing the Joker on the Batman TV series, is a possible red herring thrown in here too. Yeah.
I don't have anything to add. I would give this film 1.5 out of 5 stars. I would not recommend it unless you're interested in watching films that were nominated for Best Picture that didn't deserve it. Then maybe you want to watch it for that reason. But
I think William Powell has moments, but again, I think that they were both trying very hard. They both had a lot to prove. He was considered too old for this. Myrna Loy was stuck playing all these like exotic femme fatales. Like she was often cast as like racial others, even though she's a straight up white lady. And so this was kind of a revamping of her image. I think they were trying really hard. I've never seen any of the sequels, and I'd be curious to see if maybe a higher production value and some more retooled scripts had something to do, because Dashiell Hammett didn't write a series of novels on this, and only one more of the Thin Man movies has actually anything to do with a thin man. But I guess I'm probably never going to convince you to watch them.
I'm not interested at all.
All right, well,
what would you give it?
Yeah, 2.5 out of 5. It's a notable film of its period.
Okay.
I didn't have as miserable a time watching it as you did. But
I'm miserable talking about it. But are we done?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Bye.
Bye.